Hi, how's it going? It is Sunday. Yay! At least it's Sunday when I'm recording this. I'm gonna try to actually post this on Sunday, but it's probably gonna be late tonight if I do. So, yeah. And as usual, since it's Sunday, I have a WIP update, and today I actually have a pretty decent WIP update. Like I mentioned in my last video, I've put stitches into every single one of my WIPs, with the exception of one, but I'm considering just, you know, frogging that WIP up completely and just using that fabric for something else. I'm not sure yet. But my other six, I put WIPs in. Put stitches in. I'm also go ahead and do Carolina's fun little tag, since that's the one that's going around right now, and I really, really, really want to do that. I have everything I need for it, because there were a couple things that I was missing. Well, not missing, but you know what I mean. So I can answer all her questions now. Yay! But first we'll get to the WIPs. Start off with those. First one I have is my butterflies project, and as you can see, I've actually started filling in the butterfly. I was getting a little bored doing the flora that's going to be behind the butterflies, so I started filling them in, and I was very excited. Made me actually be interested in this pattern again, so I'm very happy for that. Next one is a new start. Yay! And this one is the pattern is called Tiny Motifs, and it's based on an old embroidery piece from the 1800s, and they had recharted it so we could use it for modern cross stitch. And I'm doing it, and this is actually a recommendation, I'm doing it entirely with the DMC Color Variations floss, and I am very, very anxious to see how this will look when it's done. I'm using four different color variations, one for every single motif. It's gonna look really cool. Next I have Not Work Quickie, which is one that I have actually not worked on since I started it, before I started working on my nephew's birth announcement. I put that aside through the birth announcement, and then I got put aside again so I could start the butterflies. But I finished this right here, which is pink, and I've started the lighter blue. I'm almost done with that. So there's that one. On my dad's piece, I finished the E, and I started doing the bottom of the N, because I don't know if anyone's ever knows enough about American football, the NFL, to know what this logo looks like, but it has a outline of an N and a Y in the background with the word Jets filled in front of it. So this is going to be the N, and then so I'm getting close to being done with the first page of this one, because this one's broken up into 2 pages as the way PC Stitch printed it out. So making progress on this one. Very happy. Next I have the Summer Mystery Sampler. I completely finished the first week, but we have not seen another one come out. She has not released the second set yet. My guess is that she had her baby. She did mention when she started the whole thing, just an FYI, I am 9 months pregnant. That could throw a monkey wrench. I really think she had her baby. So that one is actually going to be put on hold. I'm going to be stitching something, at least one something, in its place, while we're waiting for the next round to come out. So, and last, I have, and I told you I don't know if I mentioned in my last whip video, I called this one Coffin Buzz. The actual name, or Coffee Buzz, I called it Coffee Buzz. I used the right name this time. It's actually called Coffin Buzz, which makes sense given what it says. But I almost finished the second line of words. I just have the Y in body to finish. So, and I also did the little halo on the sun. I did it in a very good floss. So I am super excited. This is coming along nicely. I think I'm going to try to get a little bit more work done since we are now halfway through August. And I want to try to have this and this one. Well, this one definitely, because this was birthday presents too overdue. But that one and this one, I want them finished by the end of this month because I want to be able to say I finished something for August ABCs, especially since I am doing, as I've mentioned, I'm doing Specialty Stitch September, starting the 1st of September. And so I'm going to have to add and I'm doing it, I'm copying out a little bit because they are allowing backstitch. So I am doing a black work piece, like I mentioned. And so I'm going to have that starting in September, and I'm starting at September 1st, no matter how many WIPs I have, come September 1st. So I want to try to at least get those done so I don't have any holdovers from August ABCs when Specialty Stitch September starts. And then the piece that I'm substituting in for the summer mystery sampler actually will also count for August ABCs. So I have 3 projects that I can use for that, which is cool. So WIPs are done. Let me go ahead and start the tag because yay tags. All right. So let's get started. Number 1, how do you arrange the floss you are using on a project? I actually just reorganized all my projects, all my flosses for that yesterday. So I've actually got a decent setup, and I'm going to use my butterflies project as an example. I do keep everything in a Ziploc bag, and I keep it all in the bag I showed you in the last tag I did, the Joy of Stitching tag video that I did. Where I put it in that sheet container. So this is all the floss I need for the butterfly project. And all my working threads, on my working threads, I stole this idea from Michaela. Because I thought, and I was like, okay, that's genius. I have hole punches, and I actually do 2 sets. One is for what I actually pulled off the skein. So these will have anywhere between 5 and 1 hole that I can use. Oh, my threads are super long. I like super long threads, which is why they're getting so tangled. So these have the pulls off the skein, and then these are just one strand that I'm actually using. These are the ones I would actually use to thread my needle with this particular project. And this project is what prompted me to start this new system. I actually had needles preloaded with every color I was using. Didn't lose any bobbins because bobbins went flying when I pulled that out. The bobbins came out with the cards. I think I'm okay. I had needles preloaded with every color I was working on, so I would just switch needles when I switched colors. But then I wanted to start the inside of the butterfly, and it had no needles to preload. And I was like, what am I going to do? I can take one out and then start over, you know, use that needle, but then where I put that thread. And that's when I came up with the idea of doing double cards. I have 2 sets of cards for every WIP that I'm doing, then that's why I do that. Number 2, have you attempted to dye fabric, and if so, what methods did you use? If not, is there any particular method you want to try? Well, as a matter of fact, and I forgot to grab them, hold on. I'm back. As a matter of fact, as I mentioned in a couple videos, yes, I have attempted to dye fabric, and I showed them off in, I just have samples right now. I showed them off in that video. Well, this is a good segue because I did more last night, and I want to show them off. I did some experimenting, and I want to be like, yeah, I want to show them off. So, start with this one. This one was my attempt to try to dye fiddler's cloth, because my mom wants to kind of recreate the swatches we came up with the last time on fiddler's cloth, because the piece that she has finished is on that, and she wants them to kind of blend more. This one came out okay, but the recipe that we used for the dye is specifically for setting the dye in 100% cotton, which is what Ada is. Ada is what Ada is. Fiddler's cloth is not 100% cotton. So we need to redo the recipe using vinegar as our setting agent instead, and then it'll work. Then I was trying to play around with colors. I got this kind of light winey red. I mixed the purple that we had and the yellow, and I wanted to see what it would come up with. And this is what we got. Kind of cool. Kind of like it. I'd stitch something on this color. Then I was trying to see if I could see what would happen if we mixed up the ratios. So I did, instead of doing equal parts like we did the last time, I kind of mixed it up. I did 2 parts blue and 1 part yellow. And this was the one that was equal parts. These were in the dye for the same time. It did not come out the way I expected it to. This one is actually, I thought this would be more darker. It came out really different than what I was expecting. I'm going to try to do it the other way around next time I experiment. And then, yeah. Then the next one I tried, I thought maybe I would get a different shade of yellow or a different shade of green if I mixed the orange with the blue instead of the yellow. And no, I just got brown. This would be good for a Thanksgiving piece. And actually, I'm thinking, because thinking ahead to November, I might actually try to recreate that color and dye it for one of my pieces for November's stitching along, which is like the 4 F's. Fun, food, fall, and family, I think. So I might do it for that. Use that color for November. And then I was playing around with dye times, because the yellow swatch and the orange swatch that we have, we did those 100% according to the directions. Sat them in the dye for an hour, 15 minutes of constant stirring, 45 minutes of occasional stirring. That's to the letter how we're supposed to do it. These ones I played around with. The ones on the left, each left, these 2 right here. These are the purple and the orange, dipped it in, pulled it right out. These are the purple and the orange, dipped it in, left it for 5 minutes, pulled it out. Then I decided to get a little creative. I wanted to try to recreate some of the hand-dyed fabrics I've seen. This one is half purple, half orange. Now, the thing about this one, though, is the only way I could really do it without the dye kind of seeping in is that I had to dip it in and pull it out, because otherwise the fabric was absorbing the dye and it was pulling it too far. So I don't know how I'm going to get any deeper color than that. Same with this one. This one, I did each color on a corner and dipped it, like poured the dye on the corner and let it kind of absorb it on top of a paper towel, which it also absorbs some of the dye. Since the paper towel was folded in quarters, I was able to like unfold it and fold it over the other way. So there was dye saturated paper towel on both ends of the fabric. And it came out really, really light. I would like to try to see if I could get it darker. Maybe if I left it longer. And then there's this guy. So we're keeping our open packets of dye because we didn't use up the whole dye packet because we wanted to try to be able to use it multiple times. And we put the open dye packets together in a bag. Well, a couple of the bags spilled in the big bag. So I had a big bag with like dye, and I didn't want to go entirely to waste, so I poured water in it, poured some salt in it, the setting age, so that's what it sets, and came up with this. And I actually kept it because I don't know how I got that color, and I want to know how we got that color because I want to recreate this color. So I kept it for now. I'll try to recreate an actual measurement, and that just went on way too long. I'm only on question 2. Sorry. Number 3. If you use a needle threader, is there a specific type you prefer? I do use a needle threader. There it is. Have it in the bag too. This one, now I have to play around with it some more. This one is by DMC. It is a 3-in-1 needle threader. So it has the wire, which everyone knows and has opinions on. It also has the hooks too. It has 2 sizes of hooks. I personally prefer the wire. I actually just picked this one up. I had one that was like a cheapo one that was at Walmart, but the wire broke out of it, and it just wasn't going to be. There's no replacing it. So I wanted this one too because I wanted this one more than something like that because this is the one my mom has, and she sings its praises. She uses the metal, this one, but the one time I tried it, it cut my floss. It cut my floss, so I went back to the wire. So I don't know what happened there. I think I have to look at it a little bit, maybe do some filing like Michaela did on hers. Number 4, if you use any type of frame to stitch, do you stitch with the fabric over the frame or in the well? I don't stitch with a frame. I've said this many times. I am entirely in the hand stitcher. My mom though uses hoops and frames, and she uses hoops, and she just discovered Q-snaps. Well, Q-snaps. It's the Michaels generic Q-snap, but it's basically a Q-snap. And when she stitches over the frame. I don't know if I know I will have to have some projects that will require me to use some sort of a frame. I have I have some heads. I have the stitching ladies. That's their freebie right now, and I grabbed What's This when they gave it away after the Cecil the Lion thing. So I have those, and I have the Ice Princess, which is also a freebie. I know. Once I start one of those, I will have to have a frame. I just know I will. I won't be able to stitch that in hand and keep the tension right. So, and I probably will use Q-snaps because my mom's like, I've used everything. I've used hoops. I've used scroll frames. I've used it all. I've run the gamut. This is my favorite. The Q-snaps are by far her favorite. So that's probably what I will use. And I will probably stitch over the frame like she does. Number 5, do you start your threads in the front or back of your projects? What methods do you use? I start in the back, and I'm terrible, but I'm not the end of my thread. and let it catch. I've done that forever and ever and ever and ever, even though that's not the way I was taught. That's not the way my mom does it. She taught me to leave a tail and wrap your other threads around it. But I didn't like doing that. It got too frustrating. I knot the ends of my fabric or ends of my thread. So yeah, I really should get out of that habit. Can't. And I've been seeing these about the loop start method. The loop start method sounds great, but the reason I do it the way I do it is because in that way there is no tail on the end of my needle, and I never have to worry about the thread falling out of my needle, ever. So, but I don't know. I really should come up with something better. Number 6, if you are a gritter, what is your preferred method of gritting? Again, I have yet to have a project where I need to grid. And another thing, once I start doing heads and full coverage projects and larger projects, I have not only do I have the head going, I have and anyone who is a gamer, I know Blimey Cat Stitches is probably going to know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to eventually do the gigantic Legend of Zelda stained glass project. I have it downloaded. I'm going to do it for my cousin because he is the absolute biggest Legend of Zelda fan that I have ever met in my entire life. So I'm going to stitch that for him, and it is huge. I'm going to have to actually buy my fabric online, unless the West has it, because I want to do it on 22 count or smaller, and I'm going to be doing it over 1. So, but if I could get a big piece of fabric, but it'd be 18 count. It would be big enough for the project to be 18 count. I might do that because Michael's has 18 count oatmeal Ada, which is kind of like Fiddler's. And I would do it on that, or I'm going to do it on 22 count. But to do it on 22 count, I'd either have to buy it online, or I believe I saw 22 count in the large roll at Hobby Lobby last time I went. But Hobby Lobby is all the way on the other side of town, so it's not something I need to go check. But those I will grid, and I'm looking into getting the monofilament, like the kind of plasticky looking stuff, not the stuff that's like made for that, because it's basically colored fishing line. I'm gonna go. I got a Big 5 down the street. I'm gonna go there and get color. I probably get it at Walmart too. I'm gonna get like red or green fishing line, and use that because it's gonna be cheaper. Number 7. What is your favorite way to finish projects? Projects. Again, I have one FFO and I framed it, but I'm the kind of person who I would do a little bit of everything. I want to do a biscornu. I want to, with my dad's thing, I'm going to be making it into a pillow. And I actually walked past Hancock Fabrics yesterday, but they weren't open, so I couldn't go in. And they have NFL fabric that have the logos all on it. And I was going to get just solid green, but I'm gonna look for that instead and do that. So a little of everything. I don't have a favorite yet, just because I only have one FFO. What is your first cross stitching milestone? Definitely, and that's everyone's milestone is their first finish. And so there's definitely that. There's I don't know. And then probably my first framing job. Going back to my nephew's announcement, that would actually FFOing, but my first FFO is a big one too. So those two. Number 9. What is a stitch goal you have, something you want to conquer? Black work. I want to start doing black work. I want to save the stitches. And I'm starting small. That's why I'm doing It's Nick Variations by the same designer. as my first project for specialty September. I want to start working with metallic threads. I get paid on Friday. I'm planning on going buying thread conditioner. I found it at Michael's. It's a little bit more expensive than Thread Heaven, but talking about it, for me to go, because Joann's carries Thread Heaven. Michael's doesn't. Michael's carries this other stuff. It's $1 more than Thread Heaven than Joann's sells Thread Heaven for. But it would cost me $1 in gas to drive to Thread Heaven or drive to Joann's. It's a little farther out. So I'm gonna get thread conditioners. I want to start working with metallic thread as well. So those two. What is your silliest stitch moment? Oh my god. I don't know if I have one. There is, when I was working on my little anime guy, Gokudera, I did end up miscounting a stitch and didn't realize it for 20 rows when the rows started getting down from like 30 stitches a row to 6. Then I realized it was wrong. I spent like half a day frogging him. And it was for an exchange, so I had to do it right. It was gonna mess me up, so probably that. Oh no, I know what it is. The first time I worked with variegated floss, I not only folded the thread piece over, I went all my X's, all my forward X's, and then all my back X's. And then was sitting there wondering why it didn't look right. So that one, I forgot about that. Number 11, if you use paper charts, do you print them at home or use a service? Right now, I print them at home for my larger pieces, the Zelda stained glass, my Hayeds. I do plan on using a service, probably FedEx Office. Sorry, Michaela, it is not FedEx Kinkos anymore. And I was watching the whole time I was watching the video when she was saying FedEx Kinko's. I'm like, no, it's not FedEx Kinko's anymore. Sorry, I work for FedEx. I'm sorry. And they drill it. Don't call it Kinko's. It's FedEx Office. I would go to Office Max. It's closer, but I kind of feel that loyalty. Like, I have to use FedEx Office, so that's probably who I'd go with for my larger products. Number 12. How do you mark your paper charts if you use them? Just these regular old generic highlighters. I have no preference. Highlighters. Number 13. Is there a cross-stitch book you suggest? Yes, and this is actually what I was waiting for because it's not my book, it's my mom's. And my sister was borrowing it like indefinitely, so I had to go to her house today and pick it up. 365 Tiny Cross-Stitch Designs by Cooler Design Studios. This is the book that I got my first couple projects on. I did my first project from this book. And I'll give you an example. These are tiny. Here's July. And what I like about this book, since they're so small, they actually give you previews of every single piece. Now, I would go through all of them, but I'm kind of running out of time, space-wise. So I'm going to have to show you July, but they do that for every single month, and they're all tiny. I could bust them out now in an hour. And I just realized because I realized my sister had more books of my mom's. Same company has 201 cross-stitch Christmas designs, so that's kind of cool. So those two. The former more so than the latter. Number 14. Is there anything that you find you are very nitpicky about when you cross stitch? Not really. No. I'm very lax when I cross stitch. I probably should be more nitpicky, but I'm not. And number 15. Favorite LNS you've visited on a trip if you've been to one. I have only ever been to one LNS in my entire life, and it's no longer open, which sucks. It was the Busy Needle. It was here in Tucson, and it's where I first bought my DMC color variations. It's where I first bought dyed fabric. I would still be going. I would have hit up that store probably about 3 times in the last month if it still existed, but it does not exist anymore. The only LNS still in the city and might actually be the only one left in the state is the West, which is the same. Which is it's the same LNS that Michaela talked about in her video, because apparently her parents live out here. Um, I actually subscribed to her and like marathoned her videos after seeing that one, because I was like, the West, I know the West. I've heard of the West. I driven by the West. I know exactly where that is. I mean to go there. And I actually have my mom has a leaflet. I'm actually going to do this one for the 4F's November Switch Along that she bought the West. So I have to go. I'm probably going to go this weekend because I get paid on Friday. Yeah. And number 16, final question. Is there anything you do that you feel takes up a lot of time when you cross stitch but is worth it in the end? If the project calls for it, backstitching. I hate to backstitch. I don't hate it as much as Friends Knots, but I do hate backstitching. But if the pattern calls for it, I will buckle down and I will grin and bear it, because it just looks, it's there. Backstitching is in a project for a reason. With Sweethearts, I almost bypassed the backstitching, but I went ahead and did it, and I'm glad I did it, because especially in the bottom right quadrant, the one with like the 3 hearts like stacked on top of each other, the definition of the hearts after I put the backstitching in was just, it was so worth it. This answer will probably change once I start doing projects where I grid, because I know everyone else's done this tag has said gridding for this answer. But for now, it's backstitching. So that's it. That's the fun little tag. That was awesome. So now I'm pushing 30 minutes. I'm past 30 minutes. What am I saying? I'm at 30, almost 33. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there and get this video going so I can format it. So I can try to get it uploaded tonight, because it's past 8 o'clock and I want to try to do this tonight. So there we go. You guys have a great week, and I will see you in my next video.